Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Englewood Cliffs Mayor and Council regular meeting. Today is August 11th, 2021. I call the meeting to order. And the meeting is being conducted virtually via the Zoom application. All members of the public will have an opportunity to be heard later on. Ms. Borchers, please have a roll call.
Mayor Kranjak,
Here.
Council President Wu. Council President Wu,
Here.
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Here.
Councilman Di Gregorio,
Here.
Councilman Luciano,
Present.
Councilman Katrubis,
Here.
Mr. Bernstein,
Here.
Acting Borough Administrator Carol McMurrow,
Present.
and myself, all present, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Please, everyone, let's have the flag salute now. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United
to the
States of
republic
America,
for
to the
which it
republic
stands,
which stands
one nation, under God,
under God, indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to take a moment of silence. We've lost a few people recently, and I'd like to honor them. And the first person who passed away is Dr. Salvatore Laraya. He's a longtime resident of Englewood Cliffs and a longtime Englewood Cliffs Police Department surgeon. Next is resident Florence Walczak. And third, which I think is important that we do this also, is remember Chicago Police Alpha French, who died in a line of duty. Okay, thank you. And
Mr. Mayor, I'd like
Just-
to make a motion to
I'm sorry,
terminate the
I'm
acting
still
borough
speaking.
administrator.
Second the motion, second
Your
the
Honor, the
motion,
Sorry,
motion is out.
second the motion.
hold
The
on a second,
motion
guys.
is out of order. It's not on the agenda, not to be considered.
Guys, I'm speaking,
Second the
okay?
motion, second the motion.
Mr. Di Gregorio,
Second the
I'm
motion.
speaking, sir. You don't have the floor. We follow Robert's rules, and I guess this is a good time to do that. To members of the public and to Karen Geiger in particular, who doesn't know much about anything, but she seems to write a lot about nothing. We here at Englewood Cliffs follow Robert's Rules of Order, and we also have a set of bylaws. So those two items comprise our rules of how to conduct meetings. I am the mayor. I get to chair the meetings. And when Mr. Luciano, who just interrupted me, and Mr. Di Gregorio, who joined him interrupt me, I get to gavel them with the gavel. However, we are meeting virtually, so the gavel is not going to be very effective. So the mute button has become the new gavel. Despite what Ms. Geiger writes to the town, we are trying to actually instill democracy in this town, because she and her cronies were the ones who took it away from you all. I have reintroduced it. Mr. Luciano and Mr. Di Gregorio go through great pains to disrupt every meeting, like they just did. And we're not going to tolerate that. So let's turn our attention to what just happened. Mr. Luciano wanted to introduce something that's not on the agenda. The way things get on the agenda, because the 2019 Democrat Council majority did it this way and changed our bylaws, is that there's an agenda committee, which has to meet 1 week before the meeting. And at that agenda committee meeting, you'll have 3 people. We had that meeting last Wednesday. It was duly noticed. It was duly constituted. The clerk was there. The borough administrator was there. Mr. Farrell was there. Mr. Katrubis was there for part of it, and I was there. Everything that was presented to us to be put on the agenda was considered. Not everything was accepted. Mr. Luciano, Mr. Di Gregorio, you'll have to live with that. It's not on the agenda. I am not here to be your school teacher. You know how things are done. If you want to be disruptive, go live in another town, but don't do it here. We are not going to tolerate that. So your motion that you made is improper, as Borough Attorney just told you. And that's it. We're going to move forward with the agenda. One of the things that I was saying when I was interrupted was the Chicago police officer who died in large part because of the defund the police campaigns that went on last year and continue this year. And it's a terrible thing. And I just want our police department to know that I will always stand by their side. Now, we had a protest in town last year. Mr. Di Gregorio stood next to the defund the police protesters, as did Ms. Sabari. And yes, you know, Ms. Geiger did that too. So that's where their heads are at. My head is that law and order and protecting the police and their families. This is also, I want to take a moment to remember, it was actually last Wednesday, it's the 231st anniversary of the United States Coast Guard. And I know some people in the audience are veterans of the Coast Guard. I know Ms. McMorrow had 2 sons in the Coast Guard, so we joined them in celebrating their birthday. In terms of COVID updates, as of today, we actually have 0 active cases. The last active case was on August 5th. And historically, we've had a total of 389 cases. And sadly, we had 9 deaths of residents. Ms. Borchers, can you please read the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
This meeting has been duly advertised in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, also known as the Open Public Meetings Act or Sunshine Law. Notice of the 2021 annual mayor and council meeting schedule has been provided to the officially designated newspapers, posted on the borough's website, posted on the outside doors of the borough municipal building, since public access to such building is not allowed because of COVID-19. Other borough facilities are applicable and provided to all parties who have requested a copy of such notice. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting is being conducted electronically via Zoom, pursuant to various executive orders promulgated by Governor Philip Murphy, pursuant to the provisions of PL 2020 Chapter 11, which allows for meetings to be conducted electronically, and pursuant to various local finance notices promulgated by the state of New Jersey, Department of Community Affairs, and the local finance board. Notice as to Zoom access has also been provided according to law.
Thank you, Ms. Borchers. Next on the agenda is my note here for the Borough Charity Project. This is a project that we started a few years ago. It's basically raising contributions and non-perishable food items for the Office of Concern Food Pantry. This is probably one of the only things that we could all unite around to help the needy communities, surrounding communities, by donating non-perishable food items, or you can make a cash contribution as well, or go online and contribute to them. They're very grateful and the need is great. Everyone on council would have received the department head reports for July 2021. And just moving down the agenda, because I know it's getting—
There's members of the council that are muted, Mr. Mayor, they shouldn't be muted.
Yeah, well, they kept interrupting me, so they're going to stay muted until I finish this part of the agenda. Thank you for being their advocate.
I'm not an advocate, I'm an advocate of fairness. There's members of the
Do
council.
you
that
think
are
it was
muted,
fair
should
that
not
they
be
interrupted
muted.
me, Mr. Katrubis?
I'm sorry, say that again?
So what I was saying is actually that I didn't think it was very fair of them to interrupt me. Did you think that was fair?
I think you should get yourself a gavel and stop muting people. and make
Okay,
it that
thank
simple.
you. Thank you. So
gavel
one
is
of
not the
the
mute button,
things that
sir.
yes, I have the floor, you don't, sir. I just want to relay something that I did earlier this week. I had a lot of people upset with what is Ben and Jerry's owned by Unilever, and basically what Ben and Jerry's did was say that they're going to stop selling ice cream to certain parts of Israel. And every news article that mentioned Unilever and Ben and Jerry's also mentioned Englewood Cliffs. So I wrote to the CEO, and I'll read the letter that I wrote, and there'll be a copy provided if you wish. This is August 9th. Dear Mr. Job, I write to express my deep concerns surrounding Unilever's subsidiary Ben and Jerry's decision to cease sales of their products in occupied Palestinian territory. Not only is this move disturbing, but it's also a violation of New Jersey's anti-BDS laws. Those are the boycott, divest, and sanction laws. As the mayor of Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, home to the American headquarters of Unilever, I strongly encourage you to reevaluate your company's position and to treat everyone fairly without the virtue signaling that ultimately creates unfair treatment. While we are grateful for the presence of Unilever in our community, discrimination of any kind will not be tolerated. Englewood Cliffs is a wonderful place to work and live, and we welcome all lawful businesses, big and small, and all residents. We have always welcomed Unilever and have been fortunate to have you in our community. This has gone too far. Israel is one of the most democratic and free countries in the world. It is a beacon of freedom in the Middle East and one of America's greatest allies. It concerns me that your company is so quick to chastise Israel while continuing to support and profit from other countries and movements that daily commit substantial human rights violations, genocide, unlawful imprisonment, forced re-education, and race-based classifications. This letter is written to encourage Unilever to return to its own stated corporate mission, which is to add vitality to life. We meet everyday needs for nutrition, hygiene, and personal care with brands that help people feel good, look good, and get more out of life. Englewood Cliffs stands with Israel and its people, and we will not remain silent on my watch. In fact, we will stand with anyone that is wrongly targeted. I strongly encourage you to reconsider your decision on this matter and to add vitality to all lives. So that was my letter to the CEO, and perhaps for the next meeting, we should have an agenda item for the council to actually have a resolution accordingly if they wish. Well, let me find my agenda. Sorry, I'm doing this off of my laptop. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to
I
make,
would like to move the minutes as a package.
I'd like to make a motion to remove Zoom control from Mr. Mayor,
I think,
please, and
so
give it
that,
to the hands of
Mr.
the,
Katrubis,
I made a,
you interrupted Mr. Farrow. You did not have the floor.
I second his
The way,
motion.
there's nothing to
I
second.
second his motion.
I make a
Okay.
motion.
Let me just explain this to you guys, the way this works. You don't get to call out. This isn't recess time in the playground, okay? This is an adult professional meeting. I chair the meeting. I know you don't like me, but that's too bad, okay? If you want to be called upon, ask to be called upon, but don't just shut out. Mr. Farrow made a motion to accept all minutes as presented. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Is there a second?
Okay, there's no second, so that fails. We'll go to the next. Okay, Mr. Bernstein, I'm going to ask Ms. Zuka to continue then because she's on her vacation, as I mentioned, and I wish for her to have this
I
opportunity.
second Tim's motion.
So we're going to suspend the order of business and go to.
And your
Ms. Zuka.
motion, you need a motion, Mr. Mayor, to suspend the order of business to allow.
I made a motion to
I made
table
a
the
motion
motion.
to suspend it.
Okay.
I made a
thank you.
motion
I
before
second.
him and he called out.
Mr. Di Gregorio seconded Mr. Farrow's motion.
No,
No,
I think you
I did
seconded my
not.
motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Mr.
thought you
Farrow
did,
called-
because you called out in the middle of this. Hold on a second, guys. One person at a time.
Mr. Mayor, before we even go to that point, if there is no motion to adopt the minutes in their current function, the next item on the agenda is the budget hearing. Therefore, there is no need for a motion to suspend the order of business we can get to now to the budget discussion.
Okay, I'm going to ask Ms. Zuga to start off that discussion for us.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Zuga. I
Okay.
appreciate you being here.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for letting me go first. So I just wanted to update everybody on a couple of issues that are happening. First of all, it's August and we don't have our budget adopted yet, and it's a little concerning. But more concerning is the things that have happened over the last couple of days with items in our building. We lost the air conditioner unit in the control room of the police department that houses their servers for all their computers, which really would have been devastating if we didn't have a floor model air conditioner to keep the room cool. It wasn't cool enough to stop the servers from possibly crashing. So we had to go out and spend $12,000 to get a new air conditioning unit for that building. There's a lot of other items in Borough Hall and around the borough that really need to be addressed. And it's very concerning because our computers are so old that we can't even get service on them anymore. And our phone system, I believe, I was speaking with Acting Borough Administrative McMorrow, that some phones aren't even working. And I know the fire department needs some equipment as well. Now, I know we turned down the capital ordinance 3 times, but I was kind of hoping that maybe we can spend less in the capital ordinance to at least try to get some of these technology and phone and fire department equipment in a bond ordinance for the next meeting. I also wanted to just let you know that our budget, I've been having a lot of trouble with some of, not trouble, but I've been having a lot of issues with some of the line items not being enough to get us through the rest of this year. I know the public buildings and the grounds, they have basically nothing left in their budget. The garbage removal is going to be short this year. And we actually had to use police department funds. The chief was very gracious to let us charge that $12,000 air conditioning unit to his budget instead of a capital budget if we would have had it. So I'm basically just asking if it's possible to do a capital ordinance, and if for the next meeting, we can put the budget hearing on for adoption.
Okay, Councilman Wu, you're the council president. Is there anything that can be done to actually get the budget done and the ordinance done, capital ordinance done?
You raise your hand, you don't get called on. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it.
Tammy, which items, where did we leave off on that? We had split up an ordinance, right, last time?
We split up what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The capital ordinance, we had split it up and there were certain items that didn't pass. Can
Well,
you-
actually, the whole ordinance failed the last time. But there was much more stuff in that ordinance. I believe the total was almost, I think it was about 890,000. At this point, we're basically just asking for about 350,000 to up to 400,000, just to get the computers, the phone system, and the fire department items, you know, as soon as we possibly can. Because when that air conditioning unit failed, we were pretty lucky that we had the floor models that we can put in there for, you know, temporarily.
Is Mark gonna leave?
Look, I told the guys, I'm out. I'm not dealing with this behavior, and I hope you support me. So,
Okay, I just want to tell the circle off that.
Okay, let's go. There'll be no quorum if we all leave. Let's go. Everyone out, 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 out. Stop this meeting. Stop it. It's ridiculous. It's undemocratic.
Are you
Out.
all listening to this guy? Do you hear them? You heard Luciano,
Yeah,
Petrubis, and Di Gregorio conspiring
yes.
against
We're
everyone on
all
this
out.
call.
Right, the only one conspiring is you. I had my hand raised.
No,
You
no,
don't
no,
call on
no,
me.
no, hold on
No,
a second.
no,
Hold on,
this is
you don't
not,
have
this
the floor.
is not democratic.
So you got Luciano and Di Gregorio and Katrubis actually
Oh,
talking as if though we don't hear them, right? And now Mizuko, who's a very serious person, and I appreciate you being here, and there's about 50 people here, 52 people, and there's 49 serious people, and 3 class clowns, right? Di Gregorio, Luciano, and Katrubis. We've been trying to do this capital ordinance for 6 months now, right? 7 months, really, if you count back.
more than that.
What are we doing here, guys?
Bring this meeting
council
to a
that-
stop. Stop the meeting now.
Mayor,
Hold on a second, Mr. Wu, you're also a highly accomplished professional entrepreneur, business person. I feel badly that you're surrounded by 3 class clowns like this, but if you think there's anything we can do to get this ordinance, the capital ordinance and the budget passed, because I think they probably collectively wasted about 60 hours of our time at meetings this year so far, and they're about to do it again. So the 3 of them want to leave. We still have a quorum. So if they leave, which was what they were talking about. If you call what they said, let's just leave and break the quorum. Very childish. Mr. Wood, any suggestions?
Relative to this ordinance, I mean, the only thing we can do is folks that are against it, just draft it up in the way that these are all essential needs, right? If the AC is down in the server room, we have to get it replaced. I'm supportive of the 350,000 that Tammy is proposing. We need to do it. But unfortunately, we also have to follow the system and the procedures here. So,
Okay. So, Ms. McMorrow, I know you've been working very hard on this with Ms. Zuko.
yeah, I just want to update. I just want to, excuse me. Just want to update the council president. Tammy and I speak every day. It's been a very challenging year with this budget because for several reasons, when there have not been improvements to infrastructure for a couple of years, it's like a house, it catches up with you eventually. And this is the year that it just seems to be having everything catch up with it. I just want to add to what she's saying, what you need to know, the air conditioner in the radio control room broke first, which is what prompted the DPW superintendent to have to go buy the portable units to cool down the radio room, which exhausted all the funds out of the buildings and grounds account. Then within 5 days, the air conditioner in the police department's server room broke. They had to then take the air conditioners from the radio room, bring them into the server room, and we are on a prayer that that has not crashed because and to only look at a positive, it happened 2 days before we were having this meeting, which when the council president was kind enough to come in to sign those checks, there was one of them in there that Tammy knows we had to find somebody in 100-degree weather that would come out here immediately to replace those units. Right. He needed a deposit. We had to get that check done. That's on the agenda for a vote tonight. He's on good faith already emptied out those old units. We took the $12,000 out of the chief's budget that he already had plans for, but we have no choice. And this is what happens when you don't have a capital ordinance to be able to lean back on. And I understand you need 4 votes, but I mean, short of begging, I don't know what else there is to do, which I don't believe any of the employees or professionals or department heads should be begging for essential needs. I mean, we had to find $20,000 for oxygen for the fire department. We shouldn't be desperate like this. I mean, how could you not? How did we get to this point that we are so desperate to give our essential service workers what they need to survive? The Windows 7 computers that we desperately need to update, any police officer will tell you the 911 system is tied to your computers. If your computer is operating on a Windows 7, it is like as slow as molasses. Those 911 calls, if the computer's not fast, you're not going to be able to answer it quickly enough.
Okay.
This is like really
Yeah,
serious
no,
stuff there.
I understand. So just to recap for the public. what's happened is-
350,000 is bare minimum, Mayor, bare
Yeah.
minimum. Tammy and I figured out.
So what's happened here is that the town's budget and the town's capital ordinance has been held up in political gamesmanship. And you all just heard it because they didn't realize that they were not muted. So Mr. Katrubis says to Mr. Luciano, let's just leave and break their quorum so we don't have to deal with this. I think that's what he said. Mr. Luciano called me some unflattering name, said he agreed. And Mr. Di Gregorio, I heard him say this about 7 times. Come on, guys, let's get out of here, right? So these are 3 people who are not fit for public office. And given that episode, Mr. Bernstein, what I'd like to do is find a way if Ms. Zuka can just petition the state to pass our budget for us in the capital ordinance, because we deserve better as a borough. The people who live here are better, and they just given us perfect evidence of why they're not fit for office, and they're not willing to work with us. We actually went back and changed this budget several times, but it's all a game to them, right? They're not getting hurt. They haven't had an emergency yet, but maybe someone on this Zoom did. And these guys are going to have blood on their hands at some point to keep behaving this way. Mr. Bernstein, is that possible to just change the process on this?
Ms. Zuka, does it make sense to speak to the Division of Local Government Services tomorrow?
Yes,
where
I
we
think
are?
that's the point that we're at right now. I mean, it's already
Right.
August. Our next meeting's not until September. There's only 4 months left of the year after that. I'm surprised they haven't intervened already, honestly, but
Okay.
I think they understand all the changes that happened this year. So I think they're giving us the benefit of the doubt, but they think that it's being adopted tonight. So I'm
Well,
sure he's going to
yeah.
ask.
Yeah. Well, I think we could do the salary ordinance, right, Eric, or is that something I can't vote on?
May I?
Well, you can't vote anyway, Mayor, because unless it's a tie. The salary ordinance, I'll have to check the law on that one, but the budget obviously is going to take 4 votes.
Well, the salary ordinance, we have a quorum, so you have 3 votes. I think that would pass that.
Give me a moment.
Okay.
Can I mention?
Yeah,
if we have
Mr.
to-
Farrell, go ahead. Yeah.
If we have to go to the state, I mean, don't go with $300,000. We should go back up to the amount that we really need, which is.
It's
to
going
fund it.
to be more, it's going to be more than that, Councilman. It's going to be the entire budget and related items. The state.
The state's not
The
going to
state-
allow you to do a capital, Eric.
The state's not going to come in piecemeal. I think Ms. Zucco, who's experienced in dealing with the state in her capacity as a CFO, knows what she needs to do and who to talk to. And
Yeah, it should go
Right.
back to the 800,000 that it was being asked originally.
Well, I don't know if the state is going to intervene as far as the capital ordinance is concerned,
Right.
but they will for the budget. I don't think the state's not going to have anything to do with the capital ordinance. We need, the council members to introduce and adopt it on their own. But the budget, that's different. The budget is required by the state, so they can do something, and I will contact them.
Capital is part of the budget, Tammy, obviously. I don't have to tell you.
It is, but not the capital ordinance.
Not
Yes,
the
I-
ordinance, yeah.
but I would
Right.
talk about.
So Tammy,
Yes.
if you need any kind of proof to convince them that the three people who were just conspiring against this town, Katrubis, Luciano, and Di Gregorio, behaved the way they did, Ms. Borchers will give you the recording of what they just did.
Okay, if I need it, I appreciate that, yeah.
And
It's like,
Mr. Mayor,
there's
I
no
have
other,
a
there's no
question
other
for Ms.
word.
Borchers.
Hold on. There's no other word to describe what they did as just skullduggery, okay? And that is skullduggery right there. That's
Mm.
what-
A question for Ms. Zucca, if she's going to call the state tomorrow. Tammy, if you get permission from the council president or the members of the council that are here, would to utilize, perhaps, I know you sent emails, endless emails on this, to utilize a little bit more of the surplus. Would that be helpful to you before you call tomorrow? I'm just trying to see how we can get out of the mess that we're in right now.
Well, yes, I mean, surplus is an option. Again, we would need the mayor and council's permission to use extra surplus if that's something that they want to do.
Eric, is it so the three members sitting here are not enough?
I mean, the three members can indicate their support of it, but if it's part of the budget, unless the state comes in and says they will change the budget, they will adopt it, you all don't have to do anything, you're gonna need four.
Right, but if Tammy can ask the three that are sitting here now, if they would be in favor of utilizing a little bit more surplus for those emergency items, and then the state says, well, we're gonna come in if it's really necessary. Is that I'm just trying to help the emergency.
We do have a little bit, we do have surplus enough to use
Right.
to add that money on surplus.
I mean, can we get the feeling from Council President Wu, Councilman Park, and Councilman Farrow, what they're.
Yeah, I just don't want to change the amendment and then have to change it again, because now we're
Right.
gonna go into October by the time it gets resolved.
Does anyone have any objection to the CFO approaching the state about the possible use of additional surplus? In the abstract, obviously, the numbers to be discussed.
No, that's fine for me.
Thank you, William, I agree.
Mr. Park, Mr. Farrow,
I agree to that.
Mr. Park, were you okay with that?
Yeah, we have, no room here. I accept it, but, this situation, I'm unhappy to everybody. Anyhow, no way, maybe I can accept it, but my feelings are so bad. Okay.
Here, I'd just like to give consideration, given that we don't have everybody here to adjourn, to think through, because we do have only four of us.
We have the quorum.
No, but we still have,
you have enough to adopt resolutions and the ordinance. Three members can vote in favor of the ordinance.
Okay, what, Mr. Bernstein, what is the most urgent item? We can finish about most urgent couple things, and then we have to adjourn. That's my request.
well,
It's
hold on.
obviously you're going to have a public portion. Again, I won't speak for the government, for the administrator, for the mayor, but I would assume that ordinance 2119, resolution 21-163, which is the bills and claims list.
Hold on, Eric.
Sorry, Mayor.
Hold on. Guys, we have a quorum. We do this once a month. We have a lot of business to get through. Let's just try to get through as much of it as we can, because if we don't, then the three class clowns who just left win, okay? And they make a mockery of your governing body. And that's something that none of us should have to tolerate. So can we open to the public for ordinance 21-19? This is an ordinance to amend, revise, and supplement ordinance number 21-05.
It's a motion to change, to suspend the order of business.
Why is that?
Because the next item is public portion in general.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Did Tammy leave, Mayor? Because she's on
No,
vacation.
Yeah, you know what? Tammy, go. Thank you so much for being here. We'll try to work through this. I appreciate you taking time off on your vacation to be
Yeah,
with us.
absolutely. I just
All right,
like to get this,
Okay.
like to get this done. Thank you.
Okay,
I
thank you,
appreciate your
Tammy.
time.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Tammy.
You know what, Eric, we could continue. We should have the public first, I think.
And do the public portion.
Yeah, let's just stay in the order it's in. Can I have a motion to open to the public?
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. So if you're a member of the public and wish to be heard, please raise your hand and state your name, address, and make your comment or ask your question.
I don't see any hands, Mayor.
I see Mary
see?
O'Shea, Ms. O'Shea.
All
go
right.
ahead.
Ms. O'Shea.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I have to address this to Councilman Wu and Councilman Park at this point, that because the other three council people have chose to leave, there's no reason why either of you have not seconded the motion to approve the minutes. We're talking about February, 2 for March, 3 for April, 2 for May, 4 for June, 2 for July. Those minutes need to be approved. If there's a problem with any particular minutes, you need to give a memo, email to the clerk and say what you feel is wrong with it. This has been on the agenda for other meetings. To keep carrying these forward without approving them is a disgrace, okay? We had a problem with minutes in the past, and the fact that these minutes are prepared and are not being approved, shame on you. Shame on you, William, and shame on you, Mark, okay? You're there to do a job, and you're not doing the job, and I'm very disappointed in you, okay? And it's wrong. The minutes need to be approved. You're just blanketly not doing it. You're not doing your job. Just like the three men that left, Katrubis resigning from the Recreation Committee, Katrubis resigning as liaison from the school board. What does he think he's there in the council to do? He's doing nothing, okay? And DeGorio and Luciano, likewise. They're doing nothing. They're contributing nothing to the council and nothing to the town. It's a disgrace, total disgrace, okay? Now, I know what they keep trying to interject comments and things about the administrator. And from everything that I've seen at meetings, the administrator is doing an excellent job. And you should not be trying to attack her, okay? This is totally wrong. And I'm disappointed in you, okay? And I helped work for all of you. And I don't know what to say. I don't know how to express my disappointment with what's going on, okay? Mr. Katrubis is a disgrace. He has done nothing on the council, okay? Mr. DeGorio has done nothing, and neither has Mr. Luciano, okay? Please, do what you're there to do. Do your business, okay? Please. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think.
Oh, and one other thing, once
yeah.
you have a quorum, when you open the meeting, I don't care how many people leave, you still have a quorum. So you can vote on anything and talk about anything because you had a quorum when you opened the meeting. And if they leave, that's their choice. You still have your quorum. And I think Mr. Bernstein can verify that.
Ms. O'Shea, if I could just address the minutes. The handling of the minutes is a topic of discussion in closed session. And that's the reason that I did not vote for it. There's dispute over how they're being handled. And we talked about it in closed session. I haven't formulated my thought yet as to how we should be handling it, but it's something that was discussed relative to, you mentioned you guys attacking the borough administrator. I'm not sure who you're referring to. Please don't include, I have not attacked the borough administrator. So I heard you as in including myself in the word you, and you know, I take that, take offense to that because that's certainly not the case on my side. I make my votes and that's it. It's all business.
Okay, I think this is actually a good opportunity tonight to have a quick meeting, but get everything done. There's no reason why we can't just run through the agenda, as Mrs. O'Shea mentioned, given that the three people who disrupt us most have voluntarily left this meeting. So good riddance for the evening. Let's see if we can just get everything done. I don't see any other hands up.
Mitch's
I know.
iPhone.
Mitch's iPhone.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mitch's iPhone.
Hi, good evening. This is Mitch Kapsaskis, 251 Alfred. Just want to mention, just listening to these meetings, that the writing is kind of on the wall. I see Councilman Wu, Councilman Park there as well. You have Mary O'Shea complaining that they're not just going along with the party as opposed to doing what they feel as elected people that needs to be done. You have a mayor who has enemies on the Democratic side, of course. And now there are people like myself who voted for him that have a bit of hesitation as to where are we really going with such negativity that has me second guessing everything here. And I think most people in this town are more with my matter of feeling, more so than a Mary O'Shea and a Carol McMorrow. And I think, Mayor, you need to take a step back, realize that as a town, there is a mindset here, and me, who voted for you, feels like it's very disappointing that we can't just move forward with what we wanted to do, as opposed to picking these fights and this tit for tat all the time. The writing is on the wall. You need to reassess how you treat everybody and let us move forward. Let us pass agendas. Let us stop the frivolous lawsuits, criminal lawsuits. I think it's really a matter of, again, taking a step back and reassessing everything. Whether you hear me or not, or you just brush me off is one thing, but just know that I was a very much a proponent of you and your cause for many, many years. But now it's just very, very hard to say I'm for the mayor and for his agenda. So I just want you to consider that in moving forward.
Mr. Kapaskas, do you support 800 Sullivan building their development?
Of course not.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your comments. And the one thing that you have to understand, though, is as mayor and as a good leader, you have to make decisions based on facts, not feelings, because you just kept speaking about feelings. I love feelings too, but feelings don't get the job done sometimes. Facts do. And if you're hearing facts from people that you think are facts, those are feelings. You mentioned it yourself. I'm happy to discuss it with you because I think you and I should have a discussion. I think you'll understand a lot more in terms of what's happening here. Anyone else wishing to have their comments made?
Mr. Mehta and Debbie's iPhone.
Okay, Mr. Mehta, go ahead.
I just heard your response in reference to whatever Mitch Kapasky said, that you would like to have a conversation. I believe that you should have the conversation in terms of a public this thing where you do not have the power to mute and to throw people out of the Zoom. And then you should ask the people what they really think. So you're saying, are you against 800 Sullivan? Or are you for 800 Sullivan? But I do not believe that anything what has been done here, though we helped you get elected with the promise of unseating or defeating 800 Sylvan. I myself do not see anything being done over here, either by you or your team. On the contrary, what you did was threw everybody out and you just decided to go your way along with the support of the administrator and executing whatever you think is right. And you have lost every lawsuit and you have no further place to go to. You can continue whitewashing or telling people how you're gonna do, but that was not part of the plan. You basically put the administrator in charge. I was not even involved at that time, but you put the administrator, and it's only you and her who are executing this with zero rate of success on every issue. Okay, so if you really want to talk, let's have a public meeting and let's discuss as to what you are doing and what's the plan for you to either get a proper resolution about 800 Sylvan. I'll give you an example. Just one example is what everybody can hear. When you were supposed in starting of the year, and I can actually present the facts and actually show the documents, you sued an IT guy. Your administration sued an IT guy, okay, for having deleted that. But guess what? You actually, even if you had not thought through, you were given the information as to disable the IT access, password, and everything as of earlier than you actually taking the power of control on the 1st January. Okay, I'm just giving you one example. And
I don't know what you based that on, but go ahead. I know you like to make up things and make them
I know,
sound credible, Mr. Mehta,
and
but
so
that's just
allow
not
me
gonna happen here.
in the
Okay.
next meeting to share, and I will share with all the public my email to you, giving you exactly what to do or not to do. And yet your able administration and administrator and you did not do any of those things. And so guess what? They deleted 16 to 20,000 emails, what you guys claim, and you have filed a lawsuit. That should have never happened had you proper followed the footsteps, okay? Or what the right protocol is doing, has to be done. So I know you like to.
So someone commits a
Now,
crime,
1 second, Mr.
deletes
Kranjak, let
20,000
me finish.
emails, and it's my
Mr.
fault?
Kranjak, let me finish.
No,
It's
hold on
my
a second.
time.
You said something really
No, you
insightful there.
can talk afterwards. I know you like to disturb people and
No,
actually
no, go
take
ahead.
them.
I thought you were finished.
No,
I
you
know
like to disturb
you like to
people,
go on. Go ahead.
take them to a different place and start talking about
No,
different.
no, go
Last
ahead.
time- Okay, thank you. I can share that document with people and then you raise your questions and ask as to why. Why didn't you take those steps? And why the administrator did not take your steps? Those things which are required. And now why do we have a lawsuit pending against the IT person with all those messages deleted? You, for all reason, you could have found those emails which you're looking for which you have filed the lawsuit and basically spending the money of the taxpayers because of certain steps you did not take place. And yet you always, it's blame of others. And these are the bad boys, those 3 guys. As a matter of fact, I see you not allowing them and you say you're following the law or following the rule and your agenda rule. And you basically, I've only came last 2 or 3 times. From what I see that you are not allowing people to put up the items on agenda. So I do not know whom you are trying to fool. Basically, so please do not say that you are following the law and you are transparent and you are above, what do you call, follow the law.
I don't have to say it because I am.
You are not the law, sir.
No, no.
Just because
I
you're
am
the mayor,
following
you're not the law.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Thank you, sir.
You know, it's so insightful by Mr. Mehta to say that I can stop someone from doing something illegal when they delete 20,000 files.
Oh, you could have taken, you could have, no, it was your job.
You're done. You had your time. You're done. It's so insightful for someone like Mr. Mehta, Monday morning quarterback, to tell me that we may have had someone in the network who's deleting emails, right? So insightful. The other thing that he gets completely wrong is that, and I mentioned it before, but I think he joined later, is the way our agendas are created, or they're created through an agenda committee. We follow all the rules, and that's that. And as for Mr. Mehta attacking the borough administrator, again, he hasn't spent a day in Borough Hall. He has no idea what he's talking about. It all looks so simple when you're sitting there. So I don't see anyone else. Have a motion to close the public portion, please.
Motion to close.
Second.
Oh, I see Mrs.
I see.
Valari. Go ahead, Mrs. Valari. You could unmute yourself, Mrs. Valari. Mrs. Valari, you could unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, am I there?
Yes, hi, Mrs. Valari.
Hi, Maria Valari, 45 Jane Drive. I have to tell you, it's becoming really difficult to come onto these meetings month after month and having the disruption that Mr. Di Gregorio and the other gentleman interrupting constantly. And tonight, I think it was the ultimate insult by leaving a meeting, by talking to each other, and Tim Kadrubis as well. You know, this just sounds so familiar. This is the playbook now that the Democrats are taking, where they're going to leave so you can vote. Just like the people in Texas took a plane, got out of there, and aren't coming back so that they cannot vote. And that is really disrespectful of an elected official to do something like that, to actually decide they're not going to vote knowing that you don't have a quorum. I hope that you do. I hope that what I think it was it Ms. Zucca or Ms. McMorrow said, that you still do have a quorum because they decided to leave. I don't know. That's up to Mr. Bernstein, the attorney. I hope that's true, because that would be truly wonderful to do. I mean, you know, something we can look back on all sorts of decisions that we made in our lifetime and see where we could have done different, or we could have done better. And that's easy to say, but now we are here. And I'm not sure what went on in your caucus. I'm not sure what it is that they were trying to jump in and put on an agenda. But you know, what needs to stop is to let everyone have their say, and then let them have their say. And if it's legal and proper, then we do it that way. But this is very disappointing to see where we are, that we don't even have a true budget yet, that we can't vote on anything because we have these people who want to disrupt our town. They want to disrupt our government to achieve most likely what they think will be a win in November or whatever. But it's very disheartening for the residents to sit back and go through this week after week and not get anything done. It just boggles my mind. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, I'm tired. And I hope that we are able to vote tonight. I would like to see that. I'm not sure why they have this issue with Miss McMorrow, whatever it is, it's their personal feelings. I do know that she's a very hard worker, and you know, and I'm not sure what they want to do, but what they may want to do may cause us to be in more trouble in the long run. So it would be nice for us to know exactly what it is that, I mean, some people are upset about. I see that Mr. Kadrupa's wife is still on, and I'm disappointed that he's not on. I worked very hard to help Mr. Katrubis win an election. And it's kind of sad for me to see where we are right now. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw there's one more person who had her hand up, Debbie's iPhone.
Hi, this is Deborah Sabari, and I'm listening to what's happening here. And the truth is that I was on the agenda committee, And if you read the bylaws, it doesn't give the agenda committee the right to decide what is actually on the agenda. The idea of the agenda committee was to bring together everybody's thoughts and to put it on the agenda. It was not to stifle any particular party. And you can ask anybody on the council at that time if they were ever denied having anything put on the agenda by the agenda committee. They will have to
I'll tell you right now,
say
you
that
denied
I
me.
think you did.
You denied me.
Excuse me, Mayor, excuse me. I've never denied you
Yeah, you make up stuff. Go
or
ahead.
anybody else
Go ahead.
to
Keep
put
making it up.
anything on the agenda. A matter of fact, you put whatever you wanted on the agenda and you never came to the agenda committee. So, you know, there is no way that you can sit up there and say that the Democrats put this in place, that they picked and choose what was put on the agenda, because
Of course
that's
you
not the
did.
case. No Republican was ever denied putting anything on the agenda,
All right,
or
so
Democrat for that matter.
I'll call you a liar.
So,
in front of everyone,
well,
and that's not
you
true.
know, I guess
And it wouldn't be
I
the
could be
first
sitting
time
there
that you
calling
did
you a
that.
liar too, but that would just be
Look.
a waste of my time right now. So I thank
Thank
you,
you.
but I wanted the public to know that this is the way it worked on the agenda committee, and that
So-
you're lying to the public.
Okay,
Thank
go
you.
ahead. Thank you. So for the public, in 2019, in January, the Democrat-controlled majority decided that they were going to change the bylaws to take control of the agenda. And by doing that, they took it away from me. And at the time, I said, be careful what you're doing, because you may regret it, and you may regret it a lot sooner than you think. And here we are. We are following the rules that the Democrats put in place in 2019. And now, of course, those rules aren't good for them anymore. They don't like those rules because they don't control things. Look, if they want to change the bylaws, this council could go and change the bylaws. But Ms. Sabari denied me many times about putting things on the agenda. And that was unfortunate. And you know, it shouldn't be lost on you all that every single person who approved the settlement with 800 Sylvan, Sabari, Song, Versa, and O, they all left the council. They all left the council because they know what a mess they left us with. Okay, and now they get to sit back there and just hope and pray that I don't figure out exactly what they did wrong. Ms. Savari, you already had your moment. So have a motion to close the public portion, please.
Motion to close.
All in favor? I need a second, I'm sorry. Second, yeah. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? Okay, you know, we could get some work done here without the three. Ramon, did you want to make?
I
that
would
motion?
like to go back and move the minutes for approval.
Is there a second? Okay, there's no second. Was there another item regarding the movement of money?
Mr. Bernstein, what is the most urgent items? I don't want to continue this, you know, the meeting. So I want to finish about the very urgent matters. So I'm asking to mayor to adjourn this meeting. That's my position.
Mark,
okay, please. That is my position. If you don't like it, I'm going to leave this room immediately.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Mr. Bernstein. Let me say
This kind of you know, the meeting,
hold on a
I
second,
don't
guys.
support about it. Mr. Bernstein, please. What is the most
Let me-
urgent
Mr.
item? I'm
Mr.
going
Park,
to do
please let
that,
me speak.
and now I'm going to leave this room. That's
Please
my
let me speak,
position.
Mr.
Okay,
Park,
don't
please.
ask me.
We're all elected to do a job. And
I know
job
that.
is-
I know that. But
Yeah.
this is my
okay,
best.
let me finish.
Okay,
Let me
don't
finish.
push me. This is my position.
Okay, I understand your position. Ms. McMorrow,
What
let
is
me.
the best? You know, the urgent one.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
What is the best?
I've got
You know,
the
the
floor.
urgent item. Please let me know.
Mr. Bernstein, Mr. Park, let me speak. We have items on here, including paying people, the payment of claims, the salary ordinance, We have resolutions to pass. We could get done in 10 minutes. Because these are not controversial things, Mr. Park.
You know, every time, you know, we got this kind of a forum, really, you know, I'm sick and tired. You are mayor, you have to, you know, exercise your leadership. That's
Yeah, I
my
am. I'm telling you to do your
opinion,
job
okay?
and not leave the
Every
meeting, Mr.
single
Park.
month, we do this way. Every
Mr.
town
Park.
resident don't like it, this one.
Mr.
So
Park.
I don't like it, this one. So
I
I'm
know you
gonna
don't like it,
you
Mr.
don't
Park,
like
but
me,
we're trying
I'm
to,
gonna adjourn, I'm asking you to adjourn this meeting. I'm going to leave this room.
Mr.
Mayor,
Park, so you don't want to do your work?
Mayor, may I
Don't push
please,
me.
Yeah,
Mayor,
Mr.
may
Morrow,
I,
You
go
are
ahead.
doing
Mayor,
not the
Mayor,
best
may I,
job.
Go ahead,
Mayor,
Mr. Morrow.
may I please respond to Councilman Park's request?
Oh, don't say to me.
Will you ask?
right.
I'm going to do that. My job.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
Whatever you want. I don't
stop.
like this. Everyone's
Mr.
this
Morrow,
kind of
stop.
forum.
I have a motion
Why
to
we have
open.
to, you know, keep continue this forum?
All right.
You are
Let's just-
mayor. You are leader of this town. You have to show your leadership.
Yeah, I am. I'm telling you to do your job. That's my leadership, Mr. Park.
No.
Okay, we
Yes.
have,
Have to
I'm sorry. I
everybody,
need a
you know,
motion to open for
together.
public hearing on
How
ordinance.
come we do this way?
Excuse me.
okay, we have
Excuse me.
some, we have some
Is that
critical,
ordinance?
Okay, what is the critical item?
Okay, you asked, I'll tell you. It's public hearing on
Okay.
ordinance 21-19. This is an ordinance to amend, revise, and supplement ordinance number 21-05 entitled, an ordinance fixing salaries, wages, and compensation for all salaried, appointed, and elected officials within the borough of Englewood Cliffs, the county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, by amending, revising, and supplementing certain hourly per diem positions. Can I have a motion to open to the public for this?
Make a motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you take a vote, Mayor?
There was
Should I
a
take a
motion.
vote?
Open.
We're opening to the public.
Are
Okay.
there any members of the public?
If there's any member from the public who wishes to be heard regarding just that ordinance 21-19, please virtually raise your hand, and I'll call upon you. Okay, I don't see anyone. Have a motion to close the public portion.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a motion to approve ordinance number 21-19.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a roll call, please.
Council President,
I don't think they could hear you, Ms. Borchers.
Trubus,
Eric, there's 3 votes for yes.
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, next up are payment of claims. This is resolution 21-163, July 15th, 2021 through August 11th, 2021. The total bill list is $6,484.96. Have a motion to approve that, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Give a roll call, please.
Council President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Kutrubis.
Okay, next resolution 2021-164, appoint CDBG representative for 2021-2022. Have a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a roll call, please.
Council President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Kutrubis.
Resolution 165, resolution authorizing the issuance of bid specifications and advertisement for bids pursuant to the local public contracts law NJSA 4811-1, etc. for renovations to the police department locker room and lobby bathrooms. Have a motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Have a roll call, please.
Council President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Katurbis.
Resolution 166, resolution authorizing the purchase of lockers for the police department locker rooms from Mako Office Supplies under New Jersey State Contract number 19-GNSVI-00643. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
A second.
Can I have a second?
I did.
Council President Wu, Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Katurbis.
Resolution 167, resolution authorizing the issuance of bid specifications and advertisement for bids pursuant to the local public contracts law NJSA 40A11-1 that's set for leaf removal services.
So move.
Second.
Give a roll call.
Council President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Katurbis.
Resolution 168, advertised for position of crossing guard. Have a motion.
So move.
Second.
Give a roll call.
Council President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Park, Councilman
Yes.
Park,
Thank you.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Katurbis.
Resolution 169, resolution authorizing the hiring of Marco Sango to the part-time position of basketball program coordinator for 2021-2022 season. Have a motion.
So move.
Second.
Have a roll call.
Council President Wu, Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Katurbis.
Resolution 170, appoint Borough Attorney Anne Marie Rizzuto and her law firm. Have a
So
motion.
move. So move.
A second. Mr. Did I hear a second, Mayor? I didn't hear one.
Why don't you adjourn next month?
Yeah,
I want to know that. Okay, I don't want to vote.
Sorry, William.
I'd like to table that one.
We need it.
Well, we
Well,
will
we'll
have a
do that
borough
next
attorney
meeting.
tomorrow, William.
Tomorrow, Mr. Bernstein is finished tomorrow.
He's finished tonight.
Okay, put it up for vote.
That's the second. All right, we have a move second. Can we roll call, please?
Councilman President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Park,
Abstain.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Katurbis. You have 2 yeses, Mayor.
All right, that passes, right?
Against, one abstention, motion passes.
Okay.
Anne Marie.
170, Resolution 171, award Summit Street bid, New Prince Concrete Company.
So move.
A second.
Second.
Have a roll call.
Council President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Katurbis.
Resolution 172, resolution of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs authorizing the execution of a First Amendment to the developers agreement with the Michaels Development Company LLP as to the Hudson Terrace redevelopment project.
So move.
Second.
Have a roll call, please.
Council President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio, Councilman Luciano, Councilman Katurbis.
Thank you. So all those resolutions passed. Committee council member reports. Does anyone have any committee reports? Mr. Park, do you have anything? Mr. Farrow, do you have anything?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, Mr. Wu?
No, nothing from us.
Okay. Old business, new business, appoint recreation chair. But the reason why we're appointing a recreation chair in August is because Mr. Katrubis resigned that position. I asked him why, he didn't explain. He just said he didn't want to do it anymore. But that's my understanding anyway. So, Mr. Wu, is there any?
I think
any
we should leave these for the next meeting, Mayor, everyone. For me personally, my bandwidth is
okay.
limited.
I think it's like, Mr. Bernstein, is it my appointment?
As a liaison, I believe it is, Your Honor, but I'll leave that to Mr.
No,
Rizzuto.
for the recreation department.
No, I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Parker, would you want to be the recreation
No,
chair? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Mr. Parker.
no.
No, you don't want to be recreation chair? Okay. All right, we'll revisit that. Mr. Farrell, did you?
Well, I think I have a couple of appointments that keep me very busy.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll revisit that next month. Appoint Board of Education liaison. I had asked the council members, because Mr. Katrubis resigned from that liaison position as well.
Right.
Again, I'm not sure why he did that. He didn't explain. I asked him. I also asked him for a status report of where things were left off, but I never got that either. No one got back to me wanting to do it, so I'm gonna carry this to the next meeting. And I think this is probably a good time for me to just say to the public, listen, when people come and ask you to vote for them, please make sure that they're going to actually do their jobs, do their work, show up at their committees, give committee reports. It takes a lot of time. But you know, it's more than just you know, like a high school thing where you want to get your friends to like you and vote for you. This is actually work. So please ask all candidates for both parties, you know, are you going to actually work, right? We actually just saw 3 people walk out of this meeting because they didn't want to do any work tonight. And that's not fair to all of you. And, you know, I could take all the criticisms, you know, it's fine because most people, I don't talk to them all the time about how much time I am putting into this and trying to fix some problems from the past. It takes a lot of time. And, you know, if you're going to hear one side of the story, you should hear both. So when you hear things or when you read things from Karen Geiger, whose ink may have run dry tonight, because I know she's not going to write about her you know, the 3 people that she's charmed in our next newsletter. I'll tell you about it. It takes a lot of time. So just vote for people who are actually good to work. I always said, I'll work with anyone who'll work with me. And I still hold true to that. So I don't care what party you're from. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you.
Mayor,
Have
Mayor, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to say thank you to Mr. Bernstein's office for all their work as being borough attorney.
Yep, thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Good night.